And hello, everyone. Welcome into the Saturday Morning Coaches Show. And we've got something that we've never done before today. We're coachless for Wildcats basketball. We have not one but two players. We've got Grayson McClure and also Boo Wilkerson. So it's going to be a treat to talk to them today and find out what makes them tick. And we look forward to talking to them. Coach Tisdale, Brittany Tisdale, is here as well to talk about Lady Cats basketball. And let me go ahead and run down everything else. And of course, the big elephant in the room takes place on Monday. That is UIL Realignment Day. And we will find out what our districts are going to look like for the next 2 years. So that announcement will be made at 9 o'clock on Monday morning. And so been a lot of discussion about that. We know for a fact that we're going to stay in Class 5A just barely, by just a few students after they send out those figures. But as far as the district alignment and all that kind of stuff, that remains to be seen. And you just never know with the UIL what they might do. So that'll be interesting. That'll be coming up on Monday. Wildcat Soccer had a good match last night. They played Lovejoy, a very good team, and they tied them 1-1. Alejandro Diosdado had the goal for the Wildcats in the last 20 minutes when it looked like it might be a 1-0 match, and Wildcats tie Lovejoy. They were ranked number 4 in our region before the soccer season started, so they are, and they're always good. They're always in the playoffs, a solid team. Wildcats 5 wins, 4 losses, and 5 ties, and they will have their final non-district game before district play starts at Nevada Community, and that'll be on Friday. And Lady Cat Soccer, they had a real tough match last night, played an undefeated soccer team, Wiley East, 11 wins, no losses, and 2 ties after last night. And they had already beaten 3 of our district teams. They had beaten Mount Pleasant and Royce City and also Lindale. They beat Lindale 8-0. They didn't allow any of them any goals. I think Mount Pleasant was 2-0, Royce City was 3-0, and Lindale was 8-0, and the Lady Cats last night 7-0. As made a few mistakes in there, and but Coach Javier Aguayo said that some of the parents for Wiley East came up and talked about how well they thought our girls played, and if they could eliminate those mistakes, it would have been a very, very close match. And again, for the Lady Cats, they will be at the Prim on Friday hosting Nevada Community, and that will be their last non-district game before they go into district play. Wildcats baseball started practice on Friday. I'm sure they were in the multi-purpose building. It was kind of a nice day, but a little bit cool, but I'm sure that field is soaked just like everything else around here after the weather lately. Lady Cat softball actually starts scrimmage this week, Tuesday at Gilmer, and next Saturday they'll be at Rockwall, and they'll also have the Colony scrimmaging over there. And Wildcat tennis will be at a Paris tournament coming up on Friday. So that's everything else. And now we have Grayson McClure, closest to me here, and then also Boo Wilkerson. And we're glad to have these guys. Grayson, a senior, so he's been with the Wildcats program, I know, for 4 years, and Boo, I've known him for a couple of years on the varsity, and I'm sure for many years before that these guys have been playing basketball. Grayson, do you remember the first time you picked up a basketball?
No, I remember always playing organized basketball for my whole life. Me and Boo kind of grew up playing together, because we're cousins. So we would play outside all the time, and like constantly, no matter if it's 100 degrees, 30 degrees, like we were always playing basketball or playing baseball. So sports have always been a part of our life.
Do you make him the defensive player he is right now? Do you give him a workout out there?
No, I didn't expect him to be this good at defense until this year really. I mean, this summer is when he would play defense against the best guys, and when we play 5-on-5 against Keeson or LJ, and then we realized like he could be one of the best defensive players to come out the program.
Boo, did you help him become an offensive player?
Oh yeah, definitely. We grew up playing all sports because
Yeah.
it's just who we were. Our first love was baseball, and I don't know. We just took that to heart, and like when we were committed to something, we just put all of our time into it. And when high school hit, it was just we knew basketball was it, so we just put all of our time into it to make us the best players.
Helps to concentrate like that, and both you guys have shown, a lot of improvement by concentrating on one sport, although I was told by Coach Hammock that Boo is a really good shortstop, and that's a hard position to play. It's usually you look for your best athlete to put out there because it's a tough position. I have a great deal of respect for shortstop. That is a tough position to play. The game last night, Wildcats defeat Lindale. Score was 67-41. What did you think about that game, Grayson? What were your thoughts on that one?
I think we really came out aggressive on the defensive end. We haven't been that aggressive as of late the last couple games, and we wanted to emphasize that and to give them several defensive looks and be more gritty. And offensively, we executed. Boo was knocking down shots, and Dede was just getting whatever he wanted down low. And when you got a few guys that are hot and a few guys in double digits, that means you're doing something right.
Absolutely. Dede got everybody off to a great start. He had 9 of the 13 points we had in the first quarter. It was 13-8. He had 9 of them, so he was really going to town in there. And second game in a row, because against Roy City, he had a big game also inside. At 26, I think.
Yeah. No, he knows. He's the best player on the team, and he knows that every game he's got to step up. He knows every game matters, and a lot of the offense we run through him. And not only is he a great scorer, but he's a really good passer, and he's very good at finding open guys around the perimeter. You'll see a lot of me and Boo's threes in games are coming from when Dede has the ball in the post. So people don't really realize how good he is at his vision.
Yeah. He's kind of a soft-spoken guy a lot of times. I know that he obviously has a fiery side to him, very emotional player.
Yeah.
But when he speaks, you kind of listen, don't you? I think he kind of got onto the team a little bit lately. At the end of some games, said, "Come on, guys, we're going to finish this out."
Yeah, especially that T-High game.
Yeah.
We were down like the third quarter, and he just Sip caught a 30-second timeout, and he just took control, and he just told us why we needed to win this game and like how we needed to step up, and that he shouldn't be the only one to step up. And I feel like that really set a fire in us, and that got us going. Because when he's going, it just opens up so many other things for us.
What were your thoughts on that Lindale game?
It was a good game. We played very well. We shot the ball well. I feel like that was a game that a lot of people will take for granted because Lindale they're not known to be a good team. And I feel like people thought that we'd get stuck, that like Greenville was next and just overlooked them. But I feel like we did a good job in just not worrying about any other game, but worry about that game because that was the only game that really mattered at that point. So we did, and we executed.
Yeah, I've had some fans saying, "Gee, I'm a little bit worried that these guys are going to overlook Lindale." They haven't been playing that well lately. I think they only had 22 points or something against Mount Pleasant. And, with Greenville, kind of know that's coming up. We can talk about that a little bit later. The neat thing that it seems like we're seeing now is that different players are kind of, you guys are kind of like putting a rock band song together, and, you have the guitar solo, and then here comes the drummer, and then the bass guy does his thing. And, Dede gets us started last night, and then Boo, and I don't know what happened. And, you had 11 points in that second quarter, just couldn't miss, I think, 2 or 3 threes, so really good quarter. So what changed in that second quarter, or just took some shots maybe?
Well, that first quarter I shot 2 shots,
Yeah.
2 threes, and I missed, but I just knew. I don't know, it's just a shooter's touch that if you miss and it's online, you just feel like you can hit anything. So I told Sib, I was like, hey, run this play to me. I'm going to hit it. And we ran it like 2 times in a row, and I hit both of them. And that just kind of got me going.
Yeah. And as we were talking, as I just mentioned, It was Day first, then you came in that second quarter, and Lamadrick chipped in too. I think he had 5 or something. And then Cameron Kahn, in the next quarter, he's scoring. He had like 6 or 8 points. So that's kind of neat. It makes you guys, Grayson, it makes you guys hard to focus on one player. And I bet they concentrated on trying to take you out of the game, because if you get open for 3, man, you're going to burn them.
No, that coach told Sip before the game that, this is probably his best team he's ever coached, because we're almost impossible to guard because there's so many pieces, and, you don't want to leave me open, but you want to double team Dede, and you don't want LJ to get to the rim, and then some teams just forget about Boo. Mm-hmm. And a lot of those plays that he hit a couple threes in a row, they thought those plays were going to me. So they were just only focused on me, and it left Boo with 5 feet of space. And if you give Boo any space, he's going to knock it down. And it's a big thing to have 2 shooters on the floor that can knock down shots whenever, and plus 2 guys who can finish whenever. And if LJ can get to the rim, we're unstoppable.
You didn't take a lot of shots last night, just a handful, I would say. Mm-hmm. That seemed like to me.
Yeah. I only took 3 shots, but Sip always stresses to me, a lot of teams, especially as the deeper we go in the playoffs, they're going to, focus on not letting me get any shots. And their coach before the game told me I wasn't going to shoot much, but, he always tells me to help in other ways and help off the ball a lot. And I think looking for the extra passes when they're not there. And I'm not a guy who is looking to score 20. I can go out with 0 and be happy with a win. I just want to do whatever we can to win. And if that takes Cam scoring 30 or Boo scoring 30, everything's okay with me.
I think the only time you might force a shot would be in a game where we really need the 3, we may be behind. But I've noticed something that you've started doing this year is creating your own shot, because you will be tightly guarded, but you will move over and then shoot, kind of shoot on the run. And that's something new or something you've been working on?
Yeah, well, this summer, Boo used to guard me, and he'd always be right up in my face, and I'd always take a dribble and shoot it. And he used to always say he doesn't work on that, and I'd always miss it. So I just constantly started working on, pump faking, taking a dribble, and then shooting it. And I think that's where a half of my threes come from. So it's just working on different ways to get my shots up and get faster shots. And it was last year my shots were a little slow, and I had to work to improve that. So.
All right. Let's take our first internal break. Back with the guys here, talk a little bit more with Grayson McClure and Boo Wilkerson on the Saturday Morning Coaches Show. Back in a moment. And back there on the Saturday Morning Coaches Show, a couple of Wildcats have dropped in for us today, Grayson McClure and Boo Wilkerson. And Boo, how did it come about for you to be kind of the designated stopper, where you kind of take the assignment probably nobody else might want, and that's the toughest guy or a guy that gets hot that you have to cool down a little bit? How'd that all come about?
I don't know, honestly. I've always been known as like the dude that can score. That's just what I've always worked on. That's what I've done. And it was like around last year that I realized I felt like I could guard anybody. And I'd tell Grayson that I could guard anybody. And I told Sip that. And this summer he seen that I had worked on it a lot and that I had become the best defender that I thought I could become, because I wanted to take on the role of taking on the best guy at all times. And I feel like I have a toughness in me that can do that. And Sip allowed me to get that chance, and I'm just taking advantage of it.
What's the toughest type of guy? You don't have to mention. You can mention a player if you want to that was particularly difficult. But is it the little quick guy, or is it somebody that's big and tall?
The most a dude's ever scored on me is 30, and it was this a kid from Louisville. He's in the class of 2022. He's ranked 5th and 1st in Texas, something like that. He wasn't very hard to guard, but he could shoot really well. But the hardest dude I've had to guard was it was a big guard from Atascocita. He was 6'5", and he was committed to Texas State, and he was very quick. he was quick for a big guy, and he could do everything. But he's probably the hardest I've had to guard.
I kind of kid with Coach Cipolletta. We say, have you ever figured out that you're just 6'1"? You play like a much bigger player, like you're about 6'5", 6'6". Is that you just you're comfortable in there in the land of the trees, I guess, huh?
Yeah, I feel like my strength and the way I can wall up, so just put both hands up when I'm guarding, makes up for that height. Because I feel like a lot of people, when they play, they don't really play with their body, and I feel like I do that well, and that makes up for the height loss.
You kind of have to expect every once in a while somebody's going to block your shot, but you kind of just, it's kind of like shooting when you miss one, you know, you just kind of put it out of your mind and keep shooting right.
Yeah.
Okay. Grayson, how did it evolve that you decided to develop into a shooter and to spend, 40, 50,000, however many shots you've taken over the years? How did that come about? Was it something, that Cipolletta talked to you about, or something you just decided to do?
I was always a ball handler growing up, which is crazy to see now because I never really dribble now. But when I was coming into high school, Sip always instantly started working on my shot with me. And, it just happened where Sip was like, I always need a shooter. I always need a shooter. I always need a shooter. And he was always saying, if you shoot the 3 ball, you're going to get in the game. And I was a sophomore on varsity, and I really wanted to get in the game. And so I just constantly worked on my shot and always asked Sip to open up the gym for me. And it just so happened that, I would end up putting up 50,000 shots in the summer, 40,000. And I think I was putting up over 200,000 shots in high school. And I think it's paid off pretty well. So.
And it may pay off indeed with a college scholarship somewhere. I know you're beginning to get some interest, and they probably would say the same thing as Coach Cipolletta. Hey, we always need a shooter.
Yeah.
Well, tell me about Greenville. What's that going to be like?
We've watched our last game on film, and we just played like we were asleep 2 hours before the game, and we just didn't play hard. We missed a lot of shots offensively.
Yeah.
I think we shot like 70%, and we never shoot that bad. And none of us were on. I think our leading scorer had 8 points or something that game, and defensively we didn't do too bad, but we need to be more aggressive. We need to be more gritty and be more gritty on the rebounding side. They out-rebounded us by a ton that game. And, I think we're going to come out a lot more physical and a lot more aggressive. And that's the goal, Shots are going to fall. The points will come. But as long as we're aggressive on defense and we go through the scouting report and we give them different defensive looks, I think we'll be okay.
Yeah, Greenville had 41 points, so you tell most coaches you're going to hold them to 41. He'll say, well, that's in the bag,
Right.
Especially for us. But it was just one of those nights where it was a struggle on offense. Boo, what do you expect out of Greenville this time?
I feel like the first time around we kind of let the emotions of the game get to us. It was a very packed gym, and I feel like we got too worried about what the crowd had to say than what Sip had to say, and we really didn't execute the plays that he called. And I feel like this go around that if we do execute that, we got it in the bag.
Yeah, we kind of got caught up in the emotion, it seemed like, of the game, and kind of let that affect us a little bit. Of course, nothing was coming easy. We've talked about that, and the shots weren't falling, and I've never seen us miss so many enclosed shots. Just, kept getting rebounds and kept putting up shots, and just nothing would fall. It's like the lid was on.
Yeah, and I think we missed, like, what did he say? How many layups did he say we missed?
Like
It was
16 or 18
it was a lot of layups, and it's just Dede rarely ever has games like that. Cam rarely has games like that. I think offensively we'll do great this go around. It's just a matter of can we rebound and can we be aggressive on defense, and can we execute what Sip has for us, and can we keep our head on the court rather than in the crowd.
What's it like to play a basketball game at home in front of that huge crowd?
a lot of us feed off of it. It gives us a lot of energy. A home court advantage is a big deal, especially in district play, since every game matters, and you know the rim well, you know the floor well, you know the balls well, and the home crowd, it gives us a lot of energy, and especially when we're knocking down shots and when we're getting steals and we're getting fast break points, it gives us a lot of energy, and people like Dede and Cam, they really feed off that energy.
Boo, what are you feeling out there with that big crowd?
The first time I ever went out there, I was super nervous, but now it's just like it feels like normal. We thank them for coming out, and I feel like we feed off of their energy. I know that's probably not something good to say, but I feel like in away games we have to feed off of our own energy, and at home games we do that too, but it's always nice to have fans to feed off that too.
Very good. Guys, great job this morning. We appreciate both of you, and nice to kind of learn more about you guys, and best of luck for the rest of the season. It's been a thrill for the last few years, and there's another thrill this year. Number 9 ranked in the state, 22-7, 4-1 in district play after the first half. So thanks again for coming on, and I'm sure Coach Cipolletta will watch the tape and see how you guys did. I know he'll be proud of you, just like he always is.
Yes, thank you for letting me come.
Thank you very much. Coach Brittany Tisdale, Lady Cats basketball coming up right after the break. And back here on the Saturday Morning Coaches Show, Brittany Tisdale is with us, Lady Cats basketball coach, and they had what had to be a satisfying win for you, Coach, last night. Just really kind of a take care of business kind of approach, very Texas high-like, except the ending. You had commented on how that you were disappointed in the second half and the third quarter, kind of after we had led the whole way, we kind of gave it up and ended up losing a 1-point game. But last night, there was no doubt, as they just closed it out on Lindale and played very, very well on somebody else's court.
Yes, they did. Because, playing in someone else's gym is always harder than playing at your own. So, and then down there, you're not going to get any calls. So I already told them before the game, I said, look, we're playing against 8, we're not playing against 5, so get that in your mind right now. Like, go in with the mindset of we're not getting any calls down here, so just be prepared for that. And they really did. They did a good job of not crying, not complaining. They were getting hammered. I mean, we were getting hammered under the basket, and they were taking it, just pushing through it, and kept playing. And I feel like we really did a good job. Now, like, third quarter was the most they scored. Like, they came out and had 11, where we had held them to 7 and 9, I think. So they still scored, but I can handle 11. Our goal is 10, no more than 10, but a quarter. But 11, they came out. That was our best third quarter to come out, and I was proud of them.
Yeah, I think they may have had 11, but we probably had 14. I know we outscored them in every quarter. And this is the same Lindale team that beats us 60-38. Now, keep in mind, we didn't have Kenzie Willis, and she looks like she's had a few practices. I remember how rusty, I called her rusty as an old gate on the farm,
Yeah.
But she has had practices now, and you can tell she just looks much more in the flow of the game, kind of like we saw at the beginning of the year.
Yeah, no, she did a great job. She had 20 points last night, and she is a difference maker. I heard the coach, when we were telling him good game, his assistant said, yeah, we didn't miss you in that first round. So she really made a difference in the game last night.
Absolutely did. And another player, although, again, points, we had Boo Wilkerson on here, and his points are not always the story of the game because of the way he plays defense and stuff. And Hannah Cordell, 4 points offense, so you say, but at the same time, a tremendous night of defensive rebounding. And how many block shots and how many altered shots inside by their players. She made it very difficult for Lindale inside.
Yeah, she makes it hard for you to score, like in the paint, and that's one of our biggest things. Our biggest goals is you force them to take shots they don't want to take outside the paint. So, and I feel like we did a great job of that, and like 24 for Lindell is a great post. She really is good. She fights for rebounds. So Hannah did a great job on that girl. And it was when she got in foul trouble, it was like, okay, hurry up, get through this quarter so we can get her back on 24 because we need her in the game on 24. So she really did a good job holding that girl and getting those rebounds and not giving that girl a second chance to get a shot.
Yeah, because a lot of times she was on her one-on-one, they would kind of isolate and give her the ball, and Hannah would just block, and I don't think she fouled out. I think she hung in there with 4, didn't she?
She did. She ended up
And that takes some doing.
yeah. So
Especially a physical game she plays, she's gonna, kind of get in there and mix it. So it was just a good night all the way around. The offense seemed to be clicking. A lot of things were working.
Offensively, we really did a good job moving the ball, trusting each other, staying patient and staying calm, and that was our big thing is control our turnovers. And at one point we got a little overly excited, had some turnovers back to back, and I was like, no, we can't do this. We're controlling the tempo, and they really did a good job of getting it back and calming down, taking control of the game, moving the ball, trusting each other, and taking smart shots. And so it really just was a good team win all the way around.
Breasia Ivory's kind of an interesting player. I call her Chaos on defense because she's so athletic. She's jumping around out there. She tips passes. She just gets in everybody's way. She in a good way. And she had she had 5 points last night too. So she had a pretty good all-around game.
Yeah, she is one, when we went into that game, I said, we're starting with what I think is our best defensive lineup, and that's Bree. And so I went into that game knowing that defense was going to win the game for us. That was it. We held them to a certain amount of points or we weren't going to win. And so we went with our best, what I thought would be our best defensive lineup, and that includes Bree. And she just is such a hustler. She's such a hard worker. I'm always so impressed with her because I tell all the girls all the time, basketball is not her favorite sport. Not even close. She loves track, and then I think it's volleyball or softball, I don't know. Then basketball's in there. Her grandma likes basketball, so she really plays for her grandma. And you would never know it. You see that kid, and she plays so hard, you would think basketball's got to be her favorite sport, the way she plays and how much hustle she has. I mean, she just really plays with so much heart that it's almost shocking that basketball's not her favorite sport, but she gives us 110% every single game. It's just I just always am floored by her and her effort that she gives on the court.
She's a big help on breaking that press because she's always been the one player usually on the team, whether it be JV or freshman team or whatever, that could dribble the ball. Remember, she got hurt in one game and didn't play, and poor Jeremy DeLorge, he couldn't get the ball over half court for the whole first half, without her in there. So she's always had that knack to, kind of to help on breaking that press and with some dribbling and stuff.
Yeah, she's just so fast. People can't keep up there, and so we had to get her under control to where don't dribble faster than your body moves, and just get it all into one motion together. So we've really worked on controlling and not getting out of control with your dribbling. And she really does a good job because she is so fast. Sometimes she gets going head down and she gets a little out of control, but she is just that. It's a good thing. It's a good thing, a bad thing about her because she's got to keep it under control, but we need her to play that fast at the same time. So she really does a good job for us.
Well, like so many members of the team, you can just see the improvement, especially, out of the last 3 games. You kind of throw Royce City out of there because they're just kind of head and shoulders over everybody. But I thought the Texas High game and the Lindell game, and both on the road, and we're very competitive, and you can just see the improvement all around.
Yeah, they're doing a great job, and I have to keep reminding myself that we are such a young team, so it is going to take time, and it's going to take time playing games. That's what comes with being so young, is they need to play games. They need to play varsity minutes. They need to play varsity opponents, and so it is going to take some learning through losses for us because we are so young. So they really have just really come a long way this year. So we've played a lot of close games. We've gone into overtime 2 times I know of this year, and doing that at a young age, it is going to be great for us next year.
Yeah, they are learning, and every once in a while you see those flashes of what the future is going to hold, and it's pretty exciting to see that kind of stuff. Let's take our last internal break here. We'll come back and wrap it up with Coach Tisdale right after this. And back here on the Saturday Morning Coaches Show, Lady Cats win last night at Lindale 49-33. Now 2-5 in district play. We're tied with Lindale, I believe. I haven't really seen the district standings. I'm not sure how Greenville stands. Are they 1-6 or 2-5 or?
1-6. They played Mount Pleasant last night, and Mount Pleasant beat them. So they're still 1-6, and then yes, us and Lindale are tied.
So somehow out of those 3 teams, it looks like to me there's a 4th playoff spot. And we can move up higher than that. I'm not sure with 3 games to go. We could win as many as 5 if we could win out. But anyway, it looks kind of like 3 teams fighting for that last spot to me.
It is right now, and the way it falls and the way our district's been going, if we win out, the right team beats the right team. We could end up in 3rd, coming from 5th to 3rd, or 6th really. We were tied for 6th last week, so. Coming from last to, we could move all the way up to 3rd if we did what we needed to do, and everybody else kind of falls where they need to fall. So
we handled Greenville pretty well over there the first time, but they turn around and do the same thing like we do. They end up beating Lindale. So they're capable. You can't overlook anybody.
Yeah, we're definitely not overlooking them. I did tell the girls, Lindale, the last 2 games, they didn't have number 2. They didn't have one of their best players.
She played sparingly last night, too, seemed like.
And so I knew that going into the game, but I didn't want the girls to know that. I wanted them to go. We had already prepared to win with her, so I wanted them in the right mindset of, who cares? We're already prepared to win with 2 or not with 2. So I didn't tell them, and ours went out and did what they needed to do. But yeah, they didn't have number 2, so we beat them, with one of their better players. She's dominant for them. So great shooter, and she just does, she's a role player. She does what she's supposed to do for them. So we're definitely not taking Greenville lightly, but because we know it's a win we have to have it. So we're preparing for them just as much as we would anybody else, and it is impressive. They took one off of Lindale, who has beaten Mount Pleasant, beat us, and so they got a win off of Lindale. That it's a big deal. So yeah, we're coming in very focused on this game and doing what we need to do to get through it.
Absolutely, yeah. Again, thinking back on that Greenville game, it was just, we really just dominated them in their own gym, and it was a nice, good win too. So you want to kind of keep that roll going, especially with the Lady Tigers coming up, plural, with Mount Pleasant and Texas High to kind of close it out.
Yeah, we they went in very confident in the Greenville game. I was proud of them. We need to go in with that mindset this time, and get that win. And then I want that to fuel our fire and keep us going into Texas High and Mount Pleasant, because Mount Pleasant is going to be tough.
Yeah.
That's going to be a hard one for us. And in their gym, it's almost like I swear they have a remote control, and they can turn it off when they allow you to get a basket and when they don't. And so it's going to be a hard one. So we need that confidence going into those last 2 games.
Yeah, I just remember how good their post was. She really had a big game against us. A very physical player, makes a lot of contact and stuff like that in there. So Hannah will have her hands full, and hopefully she can stay out of foul trouble, because that big, powerful girl she's going against.
Yeah, she's very makes her presence known down there, and she's not afraid to go into somebody, take somebody out, and so it will be a team win for us, working together to make sure that girl doesn't have a great game again. So.
Hey, making the playoffs, if we can secure that and do that in a rebuilding year, that would be really, really nice.
It would, and I think it would just be great for these girls, because it would just give them like so much confidence. Like, you did it. Look what you did. We came from the very bottom to, making the playoffs in a year where nobody, everybody said no, Summer Springs is out. So it would be a very big deal for them, and they really do deserve it. They've earned it. They've worked hard. We've gone through a lot, got a lot of injuries, losing 3 players at one time, like having to pull up JV players just to play the games that we've had to play. We've really endured a lot this year, so they really deserve it. So I want it bad for them.
Hats off, too, to a couple of players that have been around a little bit longer. Kate Womack continues to do anything you ask her to do, and had some tough rebounds in there. She's tall, so she can get back in there. And we've talked about Nyla Lindley. She just continues to play tough and physical against everybody, and both of them are very big, good competitors.
Yeah, Kate is really one that I look to when I need her to do this or do that. She plays many roles on the team. Like, I need her to play a guard up top, and then I need her to play in the middle and attack the basket. I need her to play a post. She played all of those positions last night, and then she is like one of those I need her to help. I need her to be a help defender, but like Lindale, they've got multiple shooters, so you still got to worry about where yours are. So I ask a lot of her, and she really does take it serious. Like, I know if I tell her something to go work on, or like, this is what you didn't do good, she'll go back and on the film and watch herself and be like, okay, this, and this. She came in my office the other day and said, I want you to show me what you're seeing and show me where I can get better. And so she really does take it serious. And then Nala, once again, I put her on their best player, number 12,
Yeah.
and phenomenal job. That girl scored 9 points last night. So just an outstanding job by her.
Yeah, so many the players are getting into those roles and doing those things, and it's remarkable to watch. Especially, you go into somebody else's gym and you kind of expect that the chances of winning are slight, but yet a near miss in Texas High and then a win in Lindale. So things are looking up, and that bodes well, I think, hopefully for the trip to Mount Pleasant and a big game. But
I
we
hope
start
so.
with Greenville first, so let's take care of business.
Yeah,
with them
let's
first.
get through that one first, and then we'll worry about that one. But I'm hoping so. I'm hoping it's a domino effect and we keep rolling.
Is it rewarding or frustrating more working with these young kids to see the development and everything like that? I mean, most coaches, that's kind of what they like to see, is for a kid to go from A to B and really show improvement and get a lot better.
No, it's both. I'm not saying it's not frustrating at times. Like, it's tough, and sometimes it's just like, I just know how good we can be, and I just know what we can do, and I know what this kid can do. They're just not there yet. But then once you see the light bulb come on, it's like, yes, like, finally, like, it's starting to click, it's starting to get there, and then knowing like where we came from. Like Addison Wald, like, she started the year on JV, and just really like has made so many improvements, and she's still got so much to improve on. Like, is what's great is she's coming into varsity and just draining threes, and she's still got so much work and so many areas to improve. Like, the future is so bright for her, and so it's exciting to see how she's going to develop.
Yeah, what was it, Paris? She had like 24 or something, just an outrageous game.
Yeah.
She's had some good ones, and that three-point threat is, when she's hot, it can make a big difference.
Yeah, no, it really did. They that's the thing is, so she normally on that press break, that half-court press break, domino, she splits the top or something like that, but they were sending everybody up, so I just said, no, Wall, go spot up in the corner. Like, just, she went to where a post normally goes. And I just said, go get down there and spot up in the corner. So then they're yelling, shooter in the corner. So then they have to send everybody back. And I'm like, what, that's a great thing to do. Like, you're that great of a shooter. They're like yelling, she's over there, go get her. And so because of that, it makes their defense not work how they're wanting it to work right now, and they're not getting to force those turnovers up top because they got to worry about you in the backcourt. So, it really is a difference maker having her on the court.
Coach, thank you so much. Appreciate having you in today. Best of luck with Open Gym and
Thank you.
getting ready for Greenville, and exciting 3 games left to go.
Yes, very much.
All right, that's going to do it for Saturday Morning Coaches Show. Something special today. We've never had players show up without a coach, but Coach Cipolletta, his entire staff, everybody had an assignment, things going on. It was great to talk to Grayson McClure and Boo Wilkerson, and to Coach Tisdale. We appreciate her as well coming in. And that's going to wrap it up for our Saturday Morning Coaches Show. Thanks for joining us, and so long, everybody.